Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
Metalloid Firearms and Sports, utilizing botanical technologies to develop an advanced high-performance line of environmentally friendly firearm maintenance products that will not only clean and protect your firearms, but also your leather and wood components. Find out more at metalloidfirearmsproducts.com. And by Mr. Muskie Charters, offering full-service guided fishing trips for walleye, muskie, bass, and sturgeon on Lake St. Clair and the Detroit and St. Clair rivers. Booking information is online at mrmuskiecharters.com. Well, hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors, and thank you so much for joining us this week. If you've watched the show over the last couple of weeks, we've had quite a bit of hunting on, some deer hunts, a goose hunt. We're going to take a break from the hunting and show you some of the great fall fishing across our great state. We're going to start on the Big Manistee River on this week's show, chasing some salmon. Then we're going to head above the bridge to Sault Ste. Marie for some pink salmon action, and then head back down to southern Michigan for some bluegill. And if we have time, we're going to have a venison recipe for you on this week's show as well. Lots of good stuff on this week's program. Make sure you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors. Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream. It's the love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, offering a variety of meat products. Country Smokehouse is located 3 miles south of I-69 on M53, just south of Imlay City. Country Smokehouse is a meat processor, a butcher, and a destination for sportsmen. By KL Outdoor, a Muskegon manufacturer of sportsmen's outdoor products for over 30 years, featuring the Terrain line of hard-sided hunting blinds designed for quick setup and removal with quiet operation. For more information on other products, kloutdoor.com. By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows. Manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan, G5 offers archery bows, broadheads, and accessories. On the web at g5outdoors.com. By Meyer, a destination for hunting, fishing, and camping supplies, offering hunting apparel and accessories as well as hunting and fishing licenses. Meyer has nearly everything you need to take on nature and get you there.
Always point the tip right at the bobber itself. Okay?
Yep.
And then when the bobber goes down, you close the bail.
You just set the hook.
And you set the hook. It's hard, don't go easy on it.
No, yeah, so set it pretty decent.
Yep.
Okay.
Set it decent. And, we're only going to go another probably 10 feet, and then we got to bring it back in.
A couple of weeks back found me on the Big Manistee River with good friend Terry Weiler. I have fished with Terry before, and he knows his stuff. The fishing had been spotty, but we were hoping for the best.
We're at the Manistee River, upstream from Bear Creek boat ramp, and we're fishing for salmon, king salmon on below Pine Creek, mouth of Pine Creek. So we got some couple lures out and drifting spawn under a bobber. Some days it's pretty good, some days it's pretty slow, but it depends on a lot to do with cloud cover and the clarity of the water right now. But it's some days have been really good. Again, some days have been a little slower like it was yesterday. But we're just floating skein spawn under a float. About the same. You want it to float in the same speed as the current. So you're floating it down, making it look natural. Hoping one comes up and grabs onto it.
After several hours of not much action at all, Russ finally tied into what looked like a pretty good fish.
Big one.
I'll get the net. Let me pull it out here.
Holy cow!
That's a heavy girl.
It's a girl, I can tell. Come on. Oh. Oh.
Oh, that's a big fish.
Holy
Cow.
taking me right down.
Jeez.
I'll play a full side. Sideways.
Yes, it is. Oh gosh.
There he goes again. Oh, there he goes. That's a male. Yes. There you go, male.
That's a big fish.
That's a hen. It's full of girls, full of pigs. Woohoo!
Wow, nice job, young man.
Thank
That thing
you.
was a beast.
Thank you. That was quite a fight. That thing was taking me right down.
We hadn't so much as got our cameras out to get some shots of Russ's fish when Gary hooked another one in the same hole.
Well, fish on, eh?
Oh yeah,
Nice job.
been a long morning, but starting to pay off.
Terry says that if you do find a fish, you might want to stay in that hole for a bit. You can usually find a few more.
Usually give them a few minutes and they'll come back. The ones, if there's one more in there, they'll get settled down and you can go back at them again like what Gary just did in that second fish we got. So yeah, I think it's more of a reaction. You know, they see the bait, there's some smell to it. You know, they react to it, open up their mouth, they grab a hold of it. But if you take one of these fish and clean or gut them out, there's no food in them. So.
Russ and Gary each got one fish today. A slow day on the river, but that's how it goes. We had a great time together, lots of laughs, and if you have to pick a spot to just sit and watch your bobber float, well, the Big Manistee is a good place to do it. The fishing changes day to day, so get out while you can and take in all that fall fishing has to offer here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Although many of us are out in a tree stand this time of year, the fall can be one of the best times of the year to be on the water.
In the shadow of the Valley Camp Great Lakes Freighter Museum, Captain Jay Neiman slips his boat. Every other year he visits Sault Ste. Marie for a couple of weeks to guide trips for the Pink Salmon runs. This is the very beginning of the run, and Jay said that the best was yet to come.
Just pulling out of the marina, we are heading out to the powerhouse to do some pink salmon fishing. It's a little warm, it's been kind of slow for this fall. This time of year we should be getting some pretty easy limits. We're probably going to have to work for them just a little bit today.
The powerhouse at the Soo is a fishing icon. You can catch just about anything that swims in the Great Lakes in front of this building. From the Atlantic salmon in the summer, pinks in the fall, and walleye year-round, there's always a few boats fishing this area. Using their specialized hooks, boats tie off to the archways.
Every other year the pink salmon run up in Sault Ste. Marie. Right now the good runs are always on the even years, so this is definitely the year. It'll be 2 years again before we get a really good run. Next year you'll be able to get some. There won't be a ton of them up here, but you'll still be able to pick off a pink here or there. Other than that, the fishery besides the pink is phenomenal. You never know what you're going to catch. We've learned that the last couple of days fishing out here. We've pulled in 6 or 7 different species. Besides what we've caught now in the past few years, I've caught several more. You just never know every time you cast what you're going to pull in when you're up here in the Soo. The blade baits up here in the Soo, it's a little different than what you do on Erie with me. On Erie, you always want to touch bottom when you jig it. Up here in the Soo, the bottom's full of rocks and logs. You want to stay off the bottom. You want to keep it suspended in the water column, keep twitching it up higher. The pink salmon love them. The vibration that these lures put off causes their lateral line, they feel that, and it forces them to hit the lure. They love it.
The fishing in front of the powerhouse was slow, so we decided to move over to the rapids. A storm had just moved through, so we got a late start to this evening. We would only have an hour or so to fish.
We're casting blade baits right on the edge of the rapids, jigging it right into the slack water where the pink salmon are hanging out. They take a rest out of that fast water current and We're just bringing our lures right through there. There's one. Fish on. Net ready? Woohoo! Pink salmon, it's a male. You can see the hump in his back. The breeding males will get the hump in the back and they'll start to get a little bit of a hooked jaw and them teeth in there too. Gonna put him in the live well. He's gonna be dinner for us. Yeah, they're still fun to catch. These things are an absolute blast, especially when you're fighting them in 5 to 6 mile an hour current. And we're using light tackle with walleye rods on it, catching them on the blade baits. Still a great fishery. Well, we're just about done for the night. We'll be heading in and we're gonna get back out here bright and early in the morning and try it again. I'm just gonna lift it in because I don't have a net man ready apparently. That's actually a little bigger than what we've been catching. I've been fishing St. Mary's for about 22, 23 years now, and this is the year where we've gotten the smallest pinks I've ever caught. I mean, this size here is probably one of the smallest you would ever see in a normal year, and this is pretty big for this year. Not sure what's causing that, but still fun to catch. When you're reeling them in on light tackle and the fast current in the St. Mary's River, this is still a blast to sit here and catch these fish. A lot of people think blade baits, you're not catching fish, you're snagging them. I've been making them and using them for years. I mean, right there's proof. They will take it in their mouth, walleye, salmon, everything we catch. If you're using the lure right, they love blade baits. I'm not quite as tall as I used to be. It's usually non-stop action. It's not uncommon to pull 40 to 50 pink salmon in a matter of 2 to 3 hours. They get so aggressive, you'll see 50 of them swim under your boat at one time, and we'll have 3 or 4 on at one time in the boat. It just gets so crazy out here when they're in. Well, that's a nice one, Dad. That's the biggest one I've seen yet this year. I can't move him around too much. He's actually putting up a good fight. There we go. That's a nice fish. That's a much bigger fish. That's what we're used to catching out here. This would be the average size on most years. So it's nice to finally get a big one in the boat and feel the drag run and have a good fight with them.
The run of pinks had finally pushed in and we caught fish one after another. It's this way every even-numbered year, so mark your calendars to fish this run in 2018.
Hi, I'm Jordan Brown, and sticking with the fall fishing theme on this week's show, for our next segment I was able to tag along with a couple of guys chasing bluegills on a small inland lake in southern Michigan.
The plan on this beautiful fall day was to take a morning off from bow hunting to enjoy some of the great fall fishing that we have here in Michigan. Today I was tagging along with Randy Treeweiler and Fred Lowry looking for suspended bluegills, fishing 10 to 12 feet down using crickets for bait.
I got 4-pound test line, got a number 8 gold hook, and a sinker. Sometimes I'll put more sinkers on if I'm going to be moving fast through the water, just to keep it down. But then when I hook my cricket, I like to get right up there close to the head, right down through and all the way through the body. And I pinch off one leg.
Just for good luck, eh?
Them crickets are actually, if you leave both legs on, a lot of times the fish look like they're trying to bite, but they can't get in the mouth. Them legs go across about like that. They'll push themselves right. That's what Ron told me anyways. Before I used crickets, I used just a red worm or a wax worm. And honestly, when I started using crickets, I was fishing Morrison Lake one day, and an old man and old woman out in a rowboat come up to me and asked me what I was using. And they showed me how many fish they had, and they said crickets. And I went and got some crickets, and I've been using them ever since.
Well, the crickets were certainly working. After somewhat of a slow start, we finally found some active fish. When using this method, or just fishing for bluegills in general, it's important to cover water.
Yeah, I do tend to always be moving. There's no real good reason for it, except that you drift over more fish. When the wind's not blowing and the boat's just sitting still and your bait's just hanging there, I haven't had good luck with the fish coming up and just tearing into it. If they are tearing into it, great, we won't move, but as a general rule, they like their bait moving. So if the boat's moving, the bait is moving.
So what's kind of your minimum size when you're looking for these bluegills?
My minimum size?
Yeah, for these keepers.
Depends on how fast they're biting. Today, my minimum size is about a fork full. This is typically in the middle of the summer what you do. You just wander around in the deep water and just go wherever the wind takes you. This is going to be a little one.
Not a forkful?
He's not quite a forkful. I typically, about every lake I fish, I catch them 10 to 12 feet down most of the summer and into the fall.
Yeah, that's nice.
And just drifting through the deeper water. They just seem to be spread out over the deeper water once they come out off the beds. If you know some good breaks, they like to congregate a little bit off the breaks. Like I know there's several spots out here where it'll be 14 feet deep and then it'll drop right off to 26, 35, and right on them breaks are pretty good also.
Another nice one. Thing about bluegill fishing is it's always you always seem like you put a lot in the boat, and I'm just sort of the tag along in this boat. I try and find a seat in the back of it with the king up there, but you get a beautiful day out on the lake and you're catching fish and you can't go wrong, especially when you get them in the pan. That's probably the best thing about it.
We are very fortunate here in Michigan to have some great fall fishing, and although it can be tough for some of us to skip a morning in the tree stand, it's usually well worth it. Special thanks to Randy and Fred for letting me tag along on a beautiful October morning here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, hey, we are here once again with Jim Wood at the Antlers Fireside Grill here in Canadian Lakes. And Jim, we're gonna do a one-pan venison recipe. What do we got going on here today?
Well, we've done a dish similar to this where we did a mushroom with some brandy and some cream. It's very similar. We're gonna do it all in one dish though. We're not using brandy, we're using marsala, which is a completely different flavor than brandy.
Okay.
It's very quick, super simple. We do it here at the restaurant. We sell a lot of them.
Huh. Well, and you had said before people get their one recipe for venison or whatever it might be and they just kind of do the one thing. So this is an easy thing for somebody to branch out and try.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up eating, venison with onions and butter, which is great. I like it, don't get me wrong. And, marinating venison in Italian dressing is cool too, but let's branch out and do something different.
Okay, well how do we start?
Explore the unknown.
That's right.
Well, we're gonna start by turning our burner on.
Okay.
You're gonna boil medium heat here, and then we are going to take our venison loin. You can use tenderloin, you can use venison steaks, whatever you have lying around basically.
Okay.
Next, add butter to the pan, put your venison in regular all-purpose flour, add a pinch of salt, and then add the venison to the pan.
So what's great about this dish is that you're going to create a sauce and cook the venison all at the same time.
Oh, nice.
So we'll salt the other side. So we've talked about tailgate before. This would be perfect at a tailgate, if you have one of these handy dandy portable burners.
That's
absolutely
simple as it gets.
So once that starts to cook on the one side, we're going to add some mushrooms. Salt the mushrooms because you're basically building flavor as you go, so you got to constantly season as you add different ingredients.
Okay. And I'm assuming on your venison you kind of like it kind of be a medium rare.
That's how I like it, yeah. Rare, medium rare. So once you brown it on the one side, you've got that going. Then we're going to add our marsala. And this will flame up, Jimmy. I don't want to catch you on fire. So all of this flavor, this what's called fond, basically foundation, that this venison is left on the bottom of the pan. You scrape as you go.
Okay.
And that's just going to add more flavor to your sauce for the final dish.
With the venison cooked about halfway through, remove it from the pan. Then add a little beef broth, a pinch more salt, and let it reduce. Then add Dijon mustard and a little heavy cream. Cook the sauce until it's thick enough to coat the back of a spoon. Then add your venison back to the pan to finish cooking.
All right, so we've basically cooked our venison to that medium rare. Literally perfect.
Yes.
So
that is nice and simple.
Add that back to the plate.
Put the sauce over top of it?
Yep, we're going to go right over top of it with the sauce.
Or you could just eat it right out of the pan.
Yeah, you could, which, I'm not going to say I haven't done before.
Wow. Nice and simple. And what's the name of this recipe?
We're going to call it venison medallions with a marsala and mushroom cream sauce.
Well, hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. Now coming over the next couple of weeks, we're going to get right back into the hunting action. We've got cameras, actually several cameras out doing some bow hunting right now, some small game hunting, a little bit of duck hunting. So lots of good stuff coming over the next few weeks here on Michigan Out of Doors. And if you do miss something, if you're in the woods or up at camp, you can always check us out online at michiganoutofdoorstv.com. We're on there all the time. We have episodes on there every week. And if you do the Facebook thing, we're on there also, letting you know kind of what's going on as we're traveling this great state, trying to bring you as many brand new episodes as possible. Thank you so much for joining us. And hey, if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Rosie Brothers and Kubota, located in Dryden, Michigan, Rosie Brothers has been serving Michigan for over 40 years. Specializing in outdoor needs, Rosie Brothers features Kubota tractors and equipment for use in farm, home, or commercial needs. On the web at rosiebrosinc.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's, serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's. On the web at jaysportinggoods.com. By the Michigan chapters of Safari Club International. For over 40 years, SCI has been protecting hunters' rights and promoting wildlife conservation here in Michigan and around the world. SCI chapter locations can be found on the web at firstformichigan.org. By Greenstone Farm Credit Services, making recreational land ownership possible across Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. Begin your land financing journey at one of Greenstone's 37 locations or visit greenstonefcs.com. Closed captioning is provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love